Okay, Commie, I want to dive into. You obviously have had an amazing run for the last month with respect to the Canes, cranking the horn, as Razor touched on, going to Europe, Calgary Stampede. It's just been the summer of Commie. That being said, you've also touched on some stuff on social media that maybe hasn't been as fun. Do you want to touch on anything you would like to add with that?
Yeah. I mean, I might as well add, and I should put it to bed a little. To be honest, I've been so with the travel and the Stampede and all this, and then England, I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, I got to only deal with one thing at a time here. But, during development camp, I did fire out a tweet, and I don't want to take any of it back. It's my opinion. Babs in his last development camp and throughout the summer in Columbus, I would say didn't really, it wasn't up to his best behavior. So I mentioned something about that online. Yeah. And that kind of took on a life of its own, and I just kind of ignored it for a few days. And the first Sunday of Stampede, I'm sitting there at a buddy's house. I'm warming it up. We're going to go to the rodeo. And I get an email. So I think a lot of people online think I'm full of shit, but I'm actually not. I get an email at first I thought it was a joke. I'm like, okay, who's sending this to me? But it was I don't know, who sends these kind of emails, cease and desist on Sunday morning of Stampede. But this is 7/5/26, so it's July 5th, 26. I'm not going to read the whole letter. It's not that long, but I don't want to take up that much time. The title is Demand, in big, bold letters, Demand for Removal of Social Media Post. And I'll just read the beginning. Mr. Commodore, right regarding your social media post on X, in Stubbins, parents should keep an eye on their children, blah, blah, blah. Although camp is now included, publicly available. There was a word they didn't like that I don't take back, but I did. Anyways, then it's, we Oilers respect free expression and lawful public commentary. However, they think mine went beyond that. And then here's what I really kind of thought was funny. We further demand, well, first off, we demand that you immediately remove this post. We further demand that you immediately cease and desist from making, publishing, or republishing any further public statements concerning the Oilers, the coach to whom the post may be understood to refer, or any person associated with the Oilers that could reasonably be considered defamatory. So there's a couple more things in there. They were, please confirm by return email promptly upon removal that you have complied with this request and will refrain from making similar statements going forward. Well, I never responded to that email, and I'm not going to respond to that email. It worked out kind of funny where the place I was staying, the two lawyers, that's their house, husband, wife. And so I'm like, at first I was a little bothered by this. I'm like, you know what? I'm like, maybe I'll just remove the post. I don't like doing this, but I'll just remove it. I just don't want to deal with this right now. It's a Stampede, even though I don't really like it. But then anyways, we have a couple beers, a couple days later. I'm like, hey, would you read this? And anyways, they didn't really think much of it. They thought the email part was very informal. And basically the moral of the story is they're like, look, if it's your opinion, it's a public figure, you can pretty much say whatever you want. Now, you can't go all half-cock calling him or her, well, him, obviously, Babs. I can't be saying things that are totally insane. I'm not saying anything that you can't just read on the internet. So I don't see what I'm saying that's, defamatory. It's literally the truth, and it's my opinion. So anyways, I thought it was a good idea to reword the tweet and message the Oilers. Maybe on Twitter wasn't the greatest idea, but it did get it going a little bit. So we'll see where it goes, but I would just like to put it to bed. I haven't really looked at my mentions. Maybe I think some people think I'm full of shit, that I'm just making this up. So maybe I'll take a little screenshot of the top of it or something like that. So anyways, that's that. I cleared up. I did them a favor and removed the post, and I corrected it for them. So hopefully moving forward, we have no more issues, and I'm not getting any more cease and desist from the Edmonton Oilers. But we shall see.
Wild.
Yeah.
Absolutely wild. I would just add this, Commie, and just I would say this as your teammate and podcast co-host here for we've been doing this for 4 years, and really aside from having some informal conversations during your playing days and me as a reporter, going back over the years, it's only really been the last 4 years that I've got to know you.
Sure.
And for some of the people that have had responses and comments on social media, taking exception to what, Commie's saying, or people that don't believe what he's saying, I can only say this. Commie and I will agree to disagree on a lot of different things. But the one thing I can honestly say is Commie is not full of it. Commie speaks from the heart. And I think if you were to look around in hockey circles, and especially, I'll say this respectfully, some of the tippy top players in the league over the last 20, 25 years are some of your best friends. And I'm sure those guys have 1,000,001 friends or hanger-ons that they could choose to hang around with, but they choose to hang out with you. And I don't think it's because you're full of it. And so, quite frankly, the one thing that I really respect about you is, you are who you are. And, you stand by your opinions, you stand by your convictions. But the one thing that you are not is you are not a bullshit artist. And so that's what I love about you as a teammate.
I appreciate it.
You are there to support people. But yeah, great job in terms of handling that respectfully and posting it. But for those that take exception, that think that this was just a hoax, I can tell you in the 4 years that I've gotten to know Commie, we talk frequently every week, multiple times, right? And I'll tell you this much, you're not full of it.
I appreciate that, Seaball. Hey, Oilers fans, do you guys hear that? Quit lighting up my mentions. I appreciate that, Seaball. That was very nice.
I mean, he keeps telling me he won the Conn Smythe in 06 and that. I still haven't.
I did, I swear.
And it's a good way. This ends up being a good way for you to put it to bed, that it gets so outrageous that it gets to this point and you deal with that and you move on. More importantly, we're not moving on anywhere. You get to move on. But to Seaball's point, there's a reason why you end up on all these golf trips. And that's not a normal thing in the National Hockey League, that everybody gets invited to. One person gets invited to every single person's golf trips every single summer. It's no coincidence. It's Commie, because no one's inviting me to any golf trips.
Well, there's some things that go into that.
Because you're always out of position, Razor. Just ask Joe Bowen.
No, you guys, I never had any kids. Guys know I have free time. I got to thank the Columbus Blue Jackets for making me able to afford these trips. Thank you. So it's more than just that. But no, thank you very much. Hey, look, this isn't something I want to talk about all year. Look, I don't.
We don't have to talk about it till the 5-game losing streak in October.
Then we're gonna be all over it.
I'm telling you, just another chapter for Commie's book. Here's a story about a guy named Commie.
Hell of a book.
Okay, there we go. So moving on with that one.